Welcome to Kings College Football 2016. We are here this week with Kings head coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me again.
Coach, you're getting ready to play your first game of the season on Saturday at Moravian College. Before we get to that game, let's talk about training camp and how everything went. Can you describe what went on in camp this year?
Yeah, this year, for the first time in camp, we got through relatively, healthy. Lost a young guy, Malcolm Stone. Hopefully, unfortunately, to season injury. Fortunately, hopefully, it won't be all the season, but it's for a lengthy time. And then the rest were bumps and bruises, and we're waiting on an MRI for one guy for a knee, but we're not sure where that's going. So we kind of got through relatively healthy for the first time in a while, and then we felt, overall that we were, farther along than in past camps. So we're pretty, excited about that. And then the older guys, integrated the younger guys quickly into the program and how to do things, and the young guys were, attentive and respectful and willing to fall right in and help build and strengthen the team chemistry that was established in the spring.
Well, as there is in many years, there were some personnel losses to graduation, and kids have an opportunity to step in. So let's talk about some of those positions. First is the quarterback spot. Tommy Hare graduated, and now Zach Whitehead is stepping in. So talk about Zach.
Yeah, with Zach, last year he got his feet wet, got a chance to play a little bit as a sophomore. I think the game was, maybe a little quick at times for him. But again, he spends a lot of time in the offseason studying film and very conscientious and understands the importance of the quarterback position. And had a good spring, and he built that, had a good camp, and things are slowing down. He's understanding our offense really good, making better reads, better decisions, because he has all the tools. So we're excited, and we've seen him just get better from spring till the whole way through camp.
Well, Zach's going to have the benefit of having a core of 4 returning receivers who all have some talent and experience. So let's talk about that group. We have Mike Palmer, a second-team All-Conference player a year ago. And then we have Matt DeMarco, who is a junior, and another pair of juniors in Marcus Miller and Tyler Maroney. Talk about that core.
Yeah, we were fortunate. That is like our deepest, spot. So we'll be able to rotate, guys, throughout the game. And it's also comforting when you're, Zach's played with them a little bit here and there, but now he's the guy, the main guy. Comforting to know you got, at any point in time, the receivers on our field, have a lot of experience, know where they're going to be, so you can trust that, they're going to be where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to, to be there to get them the football. And all 4 of them, have had, a great training camp from that standpoint, and that gives us the depth to be able to rotate them, throughout a game and keep our passing attack hopefully at a high level.
The running game is a little bit young. We have a returning player, Zach Funk, who is a senior. He split time as a starter, part-time starter last year. And there's also a freshman named Alvante Thompson, and then a senior, Avery Simmons, who's coming off a knee injury that made him miss the entire season a year ago. So talk about the running back position.
Yeah, with Funk, he's a couple years now removed from he had a shoulder issue, and I think he's 100% confident and even in better shape than he was, and he's running harder, and faster and fully grasping being a tailback, because he's a very good athlete who's played a variety of positions, and so tailback was new last year, and now he's got a lot more reps and seasoning, and he looks like a tailback and had a very good camp. And then Alvante, promising freshman who's absorbed our offense really well, runs hard, is physical and pass protection. So he's done a great job. Then Avery, he's coming back from his knee, and then he did some good things in the scrimmage. He's a physical back. We're starting to see the signs that we saw, unfortunately for the injury there. As he's coming back, and he looks in pretty good shape, and the knee's holding up well, and he's having a good camp as well.
And of course, what makes our running game go is the offensive line. There is some experience back on that line. We have a returning starter and junior co-captain Ronnie Ippolite at center, and then senior Jake Dever at tackle. And talk about those players, but also who else will be up front.
Yeah, with those two, the beauty with them is they're able to play other positions. So we're able to maximize and get the 5 best guys in. If someone needs a blow in the rotation, they have the ability to play other things. Jake is actually, I think, played every position here. Maybe in a little center. Ips can play both guards as well as center. So that's comforting to know from that deal. And then David Hicks is a rising senior, and he's had a great off season and a great camp, and poised to be playing a lot at left guard, and be able to rotate with Andrew Zubb in there at guard, and then Nate Sheck, a rising sophomore, has done a good job at tackle. And then we have a freshman, probably one of our bigger freshman offensive linemen with great strength, Brian Olson. He's done a great job, this preseason, and he's going to be, playing for us in the mix. And then, Joey Mashani and Sean Stackhouse are 2 young, guys that again that can play guard and tackle. So we got an offensive line that can, for the most part, play in other positions. So it gives us flexibility to get the best guys on the field and rotate guys and not have to play 5. That's hard to do and not something we want to do.
On the defensive side of the ball, just like the offense, you did lose some players to graduation, but there is some good experience and talent back. And of course, when we're talking Kings defense, the first player we have to talk about is senior inside linebacker Bobby Russell, a 2-time All-MAC selection.
Yeah, Bobby's, he's our best football player. And he's, everything we thought when we recruit, guys, our top recruit guy. He's done a great job, and he's done a good job of, he's a good teammate. Kids follow him and leads by example, on and off the field. And he's having a great camp and understanding, the little things that he needs to get better on to help elevate, his play, and then also make sure he's holding his teammates accountable to elevate their play, to kind of up to his level.
Also back at linebacker is junior outside backer Hassan Maxwell and sophomore inside linebacker Bruce Damon, who both have starting experience. And then we have a first-year senior starter in Brandon Gonzalez. So talk about those 3 players.
Yeah, both of them, Bruce and Hassan have had, great off seasons. In their best camps, they came in, good shape, and the strength levels were very good. And then, they kind of grasped on our defense, and they were, flying around and playing at a high level. And we'd like the speed, which is playing with our defense from there. And then Gonzo, he's a kid. He's been, a special teams guy, a guy in the 2 deep, and he just hasn't been able to, to get on the field as much as maybe he would like. And this is his opportunity, and he's, steady, solid, and prepared and doing a good job. As a senior, outside linebacker, he's going to be a core guy in the kick game, and then also be a core guy there as one of the outside backers.
In the secondary, we've got a mix of youth and experience as well. The secondary is headed by a 5th-year senior quarterback and team co-captain Tyler Majasic, along with junior safety Jake Minetti.
Yeah, those two, Majays, he's been starting, for us off and on since his freshman year. So he's got a lot of experience, he's got a lot of confidence, knows the coverages, how to play the techniques. And he's also become more of a vocal leader, with the young guys, making sure they're doing everything right, and understanding the importance of that 3rd level where, you make a mistake and it usually ends up being in 6 points. And then Jake, he had, again, a great offseason, great summer. He's come back, stronger. He's a big safety, but he also has great range. He's a very good, center fielder for us from there. But then he gets in and fills the run lanes, well for us. And, kind of the quarterback gets us lined up, understands our defense inside and out, and has done a great job, getting the older guys lined up and then also helping the young guys make sure they get lined up correctly.
And the other 2 players in the secondary, we have junior safety Ryan Minlianica. Ryan was a player who played off the bench last year. He's a junior, but he does have some experience. And then we have a freshman cornerback that I know you're very high on, is Eli Vasquez.
Yeah, first with Staten, it's his chance, he kind of competed this spring and a little bit here in the camp, and then, he's just put work ethic in to be the starting safety. He's, the most athletic kid, out there, but he gets to do with work ethic. He's also a very good open field tackler for us. Does a great job in the kick game, so looking for him to kind of pick up where Tuccio left off at safety. And yeah, then Eli Vasquez has come in and helped us as we needed to get depth, in there, and Justin Foster's, had some a little bit of injuries aside him for some in camp, and it's given Eli, an opportunity to get more reps in play. So now going into the game, we feel we have 3, varsity level corners. Foster's been there, done a really good job. He's starting to get healthy and feeling good and practicing well. And then Eli's taking advantage of those opportunities, and he's come right in. And even though he's a freshman, he's come in and played, at a varsity level. The stage is definitely not too big for Eli. I'm looking forward to seeing how him and Foster and Stanton do, in their first really extended playing time Saturday.
A lot of defensive line. There's a moderate level of experience back. We have senior nose guard Brian Hicks, who started all 10 games last year, and then junior defensive end Jacoby Forsman, who didn't start last year but played in all 10 games and did a great job, and then sophomore defensive end Chris DiGaetano, who came off the bench at defensive end but also did very well. And then there's some other players that I know you plan on rotating in.
Yeah, the D-line, if you're in our 2 deep in our D-line, you're gonna play for us. You're gonna rotate from there. But B. Hicks, he had a great, junior season, breakout junior season, kind of figured out how to, with his body type and strength levels and playing through, nose guard, you're going to get bumped and bruised, the healthiest yards, the day you report. And he figured all that out and had a tremendous, junior season, and he had a great camp so far. Jacoby doesn't say a word, just shows up every day and gives tremendous effort. Played great, last year for us. I mean, kind of exceeded the expectations that we maybe had for Jacoby. and he's followed up with even a better offseason and a better camp. And then Diggsy's a former linebacker that, his technique from a linebacker helps him. He's a little undersized on the D-line of doing good things there. And Jordan O'Hearn has done a good job in the rotation as a pass rush guy, but he's also, done a better job of learning our scheme, as a sophomore, so he can be in there and be counted on and run downs from there. Michael Doan, one of our strongest kids, is kind of put it all together this camp, and he can give us some work at nose and anchor. And then Aaron Vascos, he's done a good job of figuring things out. And again, he has some speed off the edge, but also, understand the scheme, and he's at his strength levels to be able to play in the rundowns. And there's a few other guys in the mix. So we try to play 6-7 guys, on the D line as you're giving up size and stuff to the bigger offensive lines.
Well, the kicking game doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's certainly a huge part of football. So let's talk about that for a little bit. We have a returning place kicker, Mikhail Kenasevich, and a returning senior punter, Eric Hankey. Kenasevich has made 42 of 43 extra points in his career and has 12 of 22 in field goals. And Hankey enters his fourth year as a starter and has a 34.5 career average, but more importantly, he's forced 41 fair catches and placed 31 punts inside the opponent's 20-yard line.
Yeah, with Eric, that's his deal. He's really good. He's got great hang time. He understands how to, the pooch punt, and it's been a huge weapon for us. But he also has a strong enough leg and talent. With us, Eric, the challenge with him was to become a complete punter, because I think he has the talent and ability to be an all-league punter, if not an all-region guy as well from that deal. So his leg can definitely boom him over 40. And then that's what we're looking for him to do there, and then continue. The thing that's in his wheelhouse is being able to kind of pin people deep and limit the returns, and he's worked hard with that this offseason and in camp. And then Mikhail, he's lights out in the extra points, and last year's field goal percentage was much better than the year before, and he needs to build on that this year. As we talk about, we have 8 critical things to winning, and one of them is in the kicking game is to get points. So Mikhail understands that field goals, if we can't get a touchdown, we kick a field goal, we got to get to 3, and he's harder on himself than anybody, and he's had responded to pressure, and we'll get on him and make it really difficult for him in practice, and he's responded with some big kicks in practice and things and situations, and we're looking for him to have a build on that, his successful junior season, build on it more as a senior.
Well, coaches are always talking about teams having a different personality from one year to the next year. How is this year's team different than last year's team?
This one, I think they understand, the attention to detail, and that the little things, matter, and that we take care of the little things. The big things aren't so big. I think they kind of get that and have bought into that, because, our games over the past few years, 70% of them are score or less, and usually it's a little thing. And unfortunately, it's us beating ourselves. And we kind of talked to our kids about is that we can't finish second to ourselves. So Kings can't beat Kings, and they understand that. They understand it's the little things that usually do that. So what we've seen so far is a level of maturity and understanding that you got to dot the I, you got to cross the T, and then you got to double check the I's and the T's, and not just assume things are going to get done. So we've seen a different level of maturity of how to handle the little things with this group so far.
Well, let's look ahead to this week's opening game at Moravian College. A year ago, Kings and Moravian played the first ever night game here at Kings, and the Monarchs held the lead, but unfortunately for us, Moravian scored a late touchdown with under a minute left in the game to win the game. So now it's an opportunity to try to get back at Moravian on their home field. The Greyhounds are a very balanced team offensively with a senior quarterback, Mike Hayes, and a solid running game with Chris Negron. So talk about that offensive balance for Moravian.
Yeah, they have, the quarterback, he was, I thought real steady, in his debut against us, 2 years ago as a sophomore, and he's won a bunch of games, and he's played really solid for him. So anytime you have a 3-year starter at quarterback, there's a huge cover level that the offense is going to have. And then he's handing it off to, arguably, we're not going to see it back any better than, Negron, on Saturday. He's explosive out of the backfield. He can make you miss. He'll run you over. And he's got, great speed. And then, they got, I think, all 4 of the receivers from last year back. So, not only do you have a 3-year guy running the show, he's throwing the guys, all 4 of the receivers, are back. So they're very experienced offensively. And when you have, one of the best running backs, in their conference in this area, and, veteran receiver and quarterback, you could definitely be, balanced offensively. So for us, it's try to put them in situations where, we can be predictable on what they have to do, and not allow them to, choose what they want to do when they want to do it.
Well, defensively for Moravian, the Greyhounds returned 5 starters from last year's unit, and that group is led by senior linebacker Steve Ewald. So talk about Ewald and what the rest of the unit is capable of doing.
I mean, they're a physical defense, and Ewald's a physical kid, but the thing like best about him is he runs to the football well, which you look for linebackers. Can you cover sideline to sideline? And he can do that very well. They're big and physical, up front. I mean, they were, the MAC. They used to probably start being more physical. Centennial, maybe more finesse and fast paced. So and Moravian was a MAC team, so they kind of have that same, persona for back in the day. I mean, they're a physical, blue collar, lunch pail type of a defense.
Well, last year Moravian was 8-3, including a win over Kings, and played in the first ever MAC Centennial Conference Bowl game. Obviously, that's a very, very tough opponent for us the first game, and scheduling somebody like that has to help prepare you for the opening MAC game the week after.
Absolutely, because I mean, they're one of I think 4 or 5 teams that were on our schedule that are ranked in the top 25 or got votes in the top 25. So we understand the MAC, our conference. You got to come to play every week. It's one of the better conferences, most well-respected conferences in D3. With we've had 2 teams make the NCAA playoffs on numerous occasions, always in that conversation. So if we're gonna be one of those teams and be able to compete at the top, then you got to be able to play top-level competition. So to have an opener, the caliber of Moravian is going to give us a good barometer of where we're at and what we need to do, moving forward as we get into our conference play.
Well, Coach, we will see you on Saturday at Moravian College in Bethlehem. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Thanks, Coach, for your time, and good luck to the Monarchs.
All right, thank you.